Hello my internet fans, Rawson21 here, and we are in the month of November. 2018 seems like it has came and gone. We only have one more month. And here in the month of November, we know that Thanksgiving comes, we celebrate, we eat, we feast, we get fat, we put on a few extra pounds. Then in December, January, and February we try to lose all that pounds before spring and summer comes, so we have the perfect summer body. Try to get rid of all that weight that we gained in November for Thanksgiving and then in Christmas. But that's not the only thing that happened in November. There's actually a lot of stuff that happened in November that is very historic that seems to be forgotten. So get ready for another Friday fun fact as we look at the month of November. And let's start with November 1st. 1512, the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, painted by Michelangelo, was shown for the first time. 1604, William Shakespeare's tragedy Othello is presented for the first time. 1800, John Adams is the first president of the United States to live in the Executive Mansion, later renamed the White House. 1959, after being struck in the face with the puck, hockey goalkeeper Jake Plant wears a protective mask for the first time in a professional play. 1889, North and South Dakota are admitted in the 39th and 40th U.S. states. 1920, the first commercial radio station starts broadcasting. It begins with the results of the U.S. presidential election. 1947, Howard Hughes flies the Spruce Goose, the largest fixed-wing aircraft ever built. 2000, the first crew arrives in the International Space Station. 1493, first sighting of the island Dominica in the Caribbean Sea by Columbus. 1913, an income tax is first introduced by the USA. 1918, Poland declares independence from Russia. 1954, the first Godzilla movie is released in Japan. 1924, Nellie Ross of Wyoming becomes the first woman governor in the U.S. There you go. Women are always talking about how they can make history and what they can do. Well, there you go. 1924, Nellie Ross became the first ever woman governor of the United States for the state of Wyoming. 1980, Ronald Reagan defeats Jimmy Carter for president. 2003, the largest solar flare is ever recorded.
Remember the 5th of November.
1872, in defiance of the law, Susan B. Anthony votes for the first time. 1895, a U.S. patent for automobiles is released for the first time. 1935, the Monopoly game is released for the first time. 1994, George Foreman becomes boxing's oldest heavyweight champion at age 45 years old. 2004, Disney Pixar's The Incredibles was released. 1860, Abraham Lincoln is elected president. Now there's something they should have taught in school. They didn't teach that on November 6, 1860, Abraham Lincoln was elected. They taught us about Abraham Lincoln, but not when and what year he got elected. That's some important information. 1861, Jefferson Davis is elected president for the Confederate States of America. Again, they didn't teach that in school. I would say that's some useful information, just as a kid, especially since they taught about the whole Civil War. I would say to know on that same day, just in 1861, that Jefferson Davis got elected. November 6, 1860, President Lincoln got elected. November 6, 1861, Jefferson Davis got elected for the Confederate. That's some important information. I don't know. Do you think? I think so. 1869, the very first college football game was played between Rutgers and Princeton. 1913, Gandhi is arrested in South Africa while leading a march of Indian miners. 1665, the London Gazette, the oldest surviving journal, is first published. 1929, The Museum of Modern Arts opens to the public in New York City. 1944, Franklin D. Roosevelt wins re-election, becoming the only U.S. president to be elected to a fourth term. 1962, former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt died at age 78. 1837, Mount Holyoke Seminary is formed as the first U.S. college founded for women. 1889, Montana is admitted as the 41st U.S. state. 1960, John F. Kennedy is elected the youngest U.S. president in history. 1995, Wilhelm Röntgen discovers X-rays when experimenting with electricity. 1887, United States receives rights to Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. 1921, Albert Einstein is awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics. 1967, NASA launches the unmanned Apollo 4 spacecraft from Cape Kennedy. 2004, Halo 2 is released by Microsoft. 1938, God Bless America is sung for the first time live on the radio. 1951, direct dial coast-to-coast telephone service begins in the United States. 1969, Sesame Street TV show is broadcast for the first time. 1675, integral calculus is demonstrated for the first time to find the area under the graph. I'm not good at math. If you could tell me how pi equals 3.14, but yet cake equals nothing, see what I'm saying? I'm not good at math. 1834. The Ugly Duckling for the first time is published by Hans Christian Andersen. 1889. Washington is admitted as the 42nd U.S. state. 1918. Austria becomes a republic. 1927. Joseph Stalin gains full control of the Soviet Union. 1936. The San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge opens to traffic for the first time. 1940. Walt Disney releases the breakthrough animated film Fantasia. 1990. The first known World Wide Web page is written. 1994. Sweden decides to join the European Union. 1971. Mariner 9 reaches Mars and becomes the first spacecraft to orbit another planet. 1993. Don Shula gets the most wins of any coach in NFL history. 1920. League of Nations holds its first assembly in Geneva. 1969. Dave Thomas opens the first Wendy's restaurant. 1971. Intel releases world's first commercial single-chip microprocessor. 1977, Close Encounters of the Third Kind opens in theaters. Well, that's the first 15 days of November of what happened in history. I will be back with part 2. If you liked, please subscribe. Thank you, and I will see you again.